to look at you, yeah.
Okay, so I think I might stand up actually.
Yes.
So, okay. Snowdrops. I first saw you by the gate, paramount at the flanking posts, the air encouraging, glimpsing closer, comparable in awe at newly born. Hunkering nearer, the soil you came out of seemed right against the green. Your green, not the dark green in grass or the childlike green in moss, but a regal green, with leaves indented to make slender. A clump, a fixture in spring only. I wanted to touch your snowy velvet head, the softness that would happen on my fingertips. Birds can sing in trees all they like. I had a happy secret. 3 petals covering the trumpet, tipped with green, a snowdrop, a bell which only chimed for me. Thank you.
Hey. Of course you're supposed to clap.
You don't have to clap at every single one of them, but your hands will be sore. Well, assuming you're clapping.
Don't worry, we won't.
Very hard. The second poem here is, so what I'll do is a little blurb sometimes about the poems, because I always think it's interesting that for the audience, you know, why do they write a poem about that, or what was going on in their lives, or, you know, it sort of just helps fill in some little gaps, because sometimes when you're reading a poem to somebody, it can mean nothing to them, you know, and they're listening hard, or they're trying to understand. Or it might hit them and they enjoy it very much. And so this poem is a shortlisting for a competition that was held in Bristol some years ago. And it's to do with dead women, actually. And there was one woman, and she was my mother-in-law, and she had a lot of handbags. And she was in a nursing home. So I wrote this poem because her handbags, I felt, needed to be wrote about. Dreams of dead women's handbags, the junk in the back, wheelchairs, commodes, cotton pads and handbags, navy leather with gold buckles or long strappy handles, yellow. Battered brown with broken zip, what stayed behind the lives of these women, who is forgotten here? St. Joseph's Nursing Home, now up for sale. I like to think the foreign coins in this one might have been a traveller who saw every bit of the world. Delving through the battered brown one, used lipstick, hairnet, sewn cotton handkerchiefs, with initials S.H. It's surely a glamorous name like Suzanne Hart's. Underneath the pile, I found this little purple clutch bag. Nothing in it. A long time ago, it would have walked around, not in these extensive grounds and gardens, but walking where the clubs and the bars are, and the bus stops outside the chippy. Thank you. So, Blue, 175. The fete starts at 1 p.m. Fighting fit, I'll consider my resources. First check the purse for change. Usually buy a strip or two. The marathon is on. The Kenyans are coming in first. I've got the Sunday newspapers with all the world events. The headlines I only glance. Something and Coleman going to China. Well, aren't they the lucky ones? Mustard winning the raffle. But pardon the ones that are left behind. It's guaranteed when. Their number will come up. We'll have our lunch early. Classroom tables and little chairs. Goldilocks and the 3 bears. Cake and tea at 2. I've got that little pot of strawberry jam for the tombola. wondering if that bottle of Vindertal is still around. Reading here the French presidency elections. Those sponsors for London Olympics, terrible thing in Bhopal, price of petrol, car insurance and my MOT. Still mustn't get too down, sure fire there was filth and fury in previous centuries. Last year all rain and wind in May. What's that? My ticket got pulled out, blue 175. Would you believe it? I'm going to have to drink that bottle of wine. Okay, so I've got a couple of poems here about water, and so I think that's a good thing to write about, is water. And this one's called Swimming Home. I didn't want to wear a bikini for practical reasons. A swimming costume jumping in white, green, blue waves 3 to 4 times as big as me. Voices screaming, giggling, making me feel safe. All the time my back turned, ignoring the burren limestones, hills of the north. Returning to and from sharp stones, razor blades, testing sea edge, wondering the smell of wood and salt, and Atlantic Ocean too cold in Easter school holidays. I hear the cries of my brother's voice and seagulls encouraging me to swim. A shipwreck half submerged, deep enough to dive. The river bank, with its nettles, long grasses, pushing the oars as it sinks into wet mud. Splashes on borrowed older sister's anorak. To row back to get it over with. But I like the heron swooping. Can't see rocks, lovely placid whirlpools, and birds of prey, were they watching me? Open water. I took a dive into a deep sea and met with shades of blue and green. The first sensation, well lit and I could see seaweed draped around rocks, similar to they were going out for the night. The currents fetch little fishes to me. Underwater waves carried me to forgotten communities of islands and coastlines submerged by the blue sea. I could still see the ruins of houses, castles, orchard walls, gravestones and bridges, now the homes of octopuses and bigger fishes. Still plunging in the blue sea before I noticed how deep. My thoughts could taste the salt, made bitter by my surroundings. A shark confronting me in underwater cave, dark cave, never seen light, the open water. I'm just going to have a little drink here actually, so I'm a bit parched. So have a little drink of the local water.
I get 10 minutes left. Left. It's 18 minutes.
Plenty of time, so I'm not over till 5.
Just do as much as you want.
Right, so I'll just tell you a little bit about this poem as well. It's called On the Bench, and it's about when we see benches that are dotted around, like here at this racecourse, or on the promenade, or in parks, or somewhere in the hills, somewhere, wherever we are, and we see names on them, and they're about people and their lives. And I just sort of thought, no, what a nice idea to write a poem about those. But this is quirky, and it is supposed to be short. It's not going into depth about seriousness. It's to leave you with your thoughts about it. On the bench. Who is Marky Parky looking out at Flamborough Head? Keith and Betty Hepworth sat beside her, taking in the views as well. Displays in white and blue, cliffs a stack, sky and sea. In 1979, John Morton sat here. Pete and Annie Lonsdale honeymooned in 1940. Sadly left in 2004. Washed away wooden steps. Had Rosie Duffy and her brother Tony Bates, missed by all the family. What an image when Phil Green fell asleep and never woke up. The lighthouse on the head shone in loving memory. for HM Coast Guard Joe. Then on Stevie and Jenny Brown's it says, in our hearts forever, flounder ahead for your pleasure.